everybody, welcome to another episode of Defense of the Patience. We're a Dota 2 podcast. I'm Cyphus. I'm sitting here with Roland Spurlock.
Yes, you are. Hello.
Roland was explaining to me that he feels like Morgan Spurlock delving into the meat of Dota 2, rising through the ranks like a phoenix.
I feel like it's, like there should be a camera crew following, and me figuring out all these myths and all this bullshit that was
blowing the lid off of this Dota 2 shit, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Okay, if you want to get right into it, I'm down to get right into it because every game that I win, I get a little more jaded.
I saw last night, I hopped on, played 2 games, and then you hit me up like an hour after I went to bed, because I think we pinged you to see if you wanted to play with us.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, I figured. And then this morning, right before
I stayed up all night.
I was like, holy fuck.
And won every game?
Yeah, you lost.
I lost one. I lost my last one, but then I came back with a couple bristlebacks. Yeah.
But, it had to have been, not to feed your ego, but it had to have been 6 or 7 games in a row that you won.
Yeah, or something like that. I find that it's weird. I'm going on like 9 streaks and then losing 3. And then going on like these, and I think it has a lot to do with confidence. Like, I'm like, I just won that one. I'm feeling hot. I'm going to play. Win, feeling hot. I'm going to play again. Win, feeling hot. I'm going to win. Go to bed for the night with like 6 wins. Come back, win 3 or something the next day. Lose 1, and then lose like 4 after that.
Yeah.
And then come back and win some more.
So what are you sitting at on the recalibrated account? Where are you at now?
So, just so everybody knows, I calibrated at 3102.
Right.
After about a week of playing and getting used to playing and figuring out what I was going to play, and this was still in 6.88 when I calibrated.
Right.
I dropped down to 3029 was my low on this account, and 12 days later, I am at 3702.
Damn, son.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not, and that's what I've realized. It's not amazing at all. And I've realized that there's so many fucking fallacies and so much bullshit that's spread around from people you play with who have their own quirks. And and I was thinking about this because I knew we were going to record the show, and I thought, okay, if a lower MMR player now, like a Roland 2 years ago, were to ask me, okay, so what do I need to be doing, or I was playing with him and I was trying to give him advice, like what would my things be? Because everybody has their thing where it's like, you need to make sure that you're doing this, and that's how you're going to climb MMR.
Sure.
Or you need to make sure you're doing that, and that's how you climb MMR. And I was thinking like, okay, well, what are the things that Roland does, or me? I'm speaking about myself in the third person, but like, what do I do that works for me? And I noticed that that's a lot of aggression. That's getting wards, and that's not being scared to fight around towers, not in towers, but around towers, going around the offlane tier 1 and fighting behind it, especially in 7.00, or 7.01, I guess now, or like near that bounty rune. I know they want that. And so I guess like if myself asked me from 2 years ago what to do, I would say, always smoke the offlane bounty rune. It works for me every time.
Sure.
Does that work for everybody every time? No. Absolutely not. It's usually maybe you're gonna feed. Is it gonna work in 2K?
Yeah,
probably not.
I think some of that is
it's basic.
A lot of Dota is experience.
It's experience, but it's also my experience.
Right. No. I think,
and what works for me does not work for you. Does not work for somebody else.
I know that. I know that some of this comes from you and I put ourselves out there with this podcast, right?
Yeah. Open to criticism. Open to ideas. Open to anybody who is one MMR higher than us.
Open to advice.
Yeah.
I think that a lot. I think that a lot of your perspective on that, like, remember that when we did this because we were enjoying the game so much, we decided to do the podcast.
Yep.
And we put ourselves out there. We definitely opened ourselves to a lot of
of
that, and a lot of it was super friendly and super helpful.
It was all super friendly, and it was the thing is the helpful part.
Some of it was helpful, some of it wasn't. But my point more being, remember before you get too jaded about feeling like a lot of the advice that you got was no good, because I think at the end of the day, a lot of those people were more than willing to say that you needed to learn from experience.
Sure.
You still had your Ursinities out there who were, Ursinity would be a backer of your play style, which was learning all the heroes, right?
And that has done a fucking number for me.
Yeah,
my versatility is off the chart, and I'm still climbing. So
and I think I was telling you, I feel like in 7.0 that I feel like a lot more is able to work than ever before. Even in 6.8.8, like I was telling you beforehand, I feel like I'm losing to team comps that in 6.8.8 would have failed miserably. And these talents and these extra benefits and powers that people are getting,
But that's uncharted territory, and that's why it's like, especially now, to give advice to anybody is, I feel, I'm not willing to do it. I'm also not willing to carry the air of ego.
I think that's the wrong way to look at it, because
my advice, I want it to be empirical. So
right, but the only thing that you can ever really do for empirical evidence is provide stats. In Dota.
Well, let me at least finish. Like when I give advice, I'm not going to say you need to level Q first always.
Sure.
I'm saying, okay, you're up against a Ricky bounty hunter. I promise you it's going to be worth it to buy sentries from your starting gold. Yeah, you're a solo support. Yeah, you're going to spend, 130 gold on the 2 wards, on the 2 observers. Yeah. You're going to spend 100 on the courier. So there's 330, or 230, excuse me. You're going to spend 430 once you get your sentries, and then pick up a tango, putting you at 550, and then pick up a salve or something like that. You're fine doing that.
I guess my point being that it's okay to give advice, and it's okay to give advice based off of your experience. And I think most people would tell you experience is paramount in playing this game, because yes, different play styles are going to be rewarded for doing different types of things. Different people are going to have different play styles. That's why that works. On the flip side, I think that what you have seen a lot of, and I know what I've seen a lot of, and I'm seeing it come to light in very interesting ways with this latest patch, is that anecdotal and experiential advice can frequently be flawed. I was telling you about that game. I was playing with a guy who I was playing mid as a Dusa against a sniper, and this safe lane drow was panicked, dude. I mean panicked
about the
sniper. From the moment he saw the sniper pick.
Well, Medusa and Drow, you have a pretty good reason to be panicked.
For sure.
About a sniper.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. And Sniper's strong right now, it feels like, or at least my experience with him.
You see him a lot. He's like, I think he's up there in the top picks.
Yeah, I don't know what I'd be curious to see what his win rate is.
He's getting picked a lot more, at least.
But this guy had clearly lost a few games to a sniper, at least one.
Negative association.
And had that negative association with the sniper, and he was on the mic, because what I told him was, look, man, if we can get into the late game, and I'm on this Dusa, I'm not that worried about.
He still should be, because he has so much distance on you, and you really have no way to get.
Yeah, but
you can't catch him.
Build a Dragon Lance into a Hurricane Pike.
A late game Dusa probably doesn't have a Hurricane Pike.
Late game Dusa can have a Hurricane Pike.
I mean,
to close the distance on the sniper.
What does she have? So like BOTs, Scotty, Manta. So there's 3. Probably Mjolnir, something like that. There's 4. Lincoln Sphere 5.
And I'd pick up the Hurricane Pike. I'd pick up the Hurricane Pike to get to the sniper.
And I mean, you probably want some damage. I mean, you're kind of lacking damage at that point. But
sure.
I mean, you have so many defensive items at that point.
You know what I mean? Like, I guess my point being, like, I was fine with. I didn't want to go into that game being like, yeah, you're right, man. Once we get to the fucking late game, you're
don't
right.
Go into a game and lose.
Yeah,
like from minute 0.
And I think that was more my point. It's just that we, and I forget the rest of the team comp, but I think we had like a Legion or somebody that was capable of blinking in and closing the distance. Like we had the carry.
Legion's good against sniper for sure. Yeah,
we had the carry to go the distance.
Or like Shadow Blade. I mean, the Drow should have a Shadow Blade in that case. Right. I mean,
there were 100. There are not 100, but there were a multitude of ways for us to counteract what the sniper was capable of. Mm-hmm. And he, I told you, like the sniper, I was playing against him mid. And he was getting farm, and I was getting farm. Neither of us got a kill on the other, because his whole thing was if he ran into the fucking creep wave to try to get me further down, then I would just snake the fucking creep wave and wreck this weak little sniper, and we just kind of went back and forth like that for a while. Neither of us getting a kill, but neither of us missing out on farm. And the drow, meanwhile, on the mic is, we gotta get ganks on this sniper. We gotta get ganks on this sniper. To which I replied, I'm more than willing. If somebody wants to come mid to try to gank the sniper, I'm all about it. You know, let's do it. But
at 2K, mids don't get ganks.
Right.
They gank.
Right.
And if you don't gank by 4 minutes, you're a bad mid.
And so nobody came mid to gank because nobody in the 2K range comes to do that. But my point being, though, this guy wound up feeding a bunch to the top lane, feeding a lot to the off laner. He was probably 5 or 6 deaths by about 12 or 13 minutes. And meanwhile, he's panicking in his brain about this fucking sniper that he's not even laning against, but he's got this mindset.
And it's affecting his play.
Right, it's affecting his play. And when we go to lose the game, when we eventually do lose this game, he hops on the mic to remind everybody that, hey, next time that I say we should gank the sniper more, maybe we should listen.
That's when you mute. I mean,
well, no, and he wasn't, you know.
Even still, if it's affecting your game, you mute him. If it's affecting your game, you mute.
I unmuted it.
Even if they're like, ho ho ho, Merry Christmas, I'm Santa Claus, and joy to all the children that are impoverished, like, sorry, Santa Claus, you're making my play worse. I'm mute. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what you do.
But my point being, like, you get these. So, you know, to get back to our earlier conversation, you get these guys who are playing this game, and guys and girls who get those negative associations, who have anecdotal experience that is flawed because, as you and I know, it is flawed. It always is.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're right. Empirical evidence would be the best to point to. But in Dota,
there is empirical evidence. There are empirical things. Yeah, and those are the things that I would definitely hope. I wish were shared with me more blatantly. Okay, so what I want to get to, this is where I'm getting more and more jaded, is heroes that are garbage. Okay, we have statistics, sure. So
by the way, I want a segment with Ursinity on one of these shows where we do good or garbage.
We could do good or garbage. This isn't even pointed at Ursinity.
I think we all use the term garbage now because of Ursi.
Yeah, garbage or trash. Ursi says trash. So a lot of people do this. A lot of people, not only Ursi, will say, "Oh, this hero's trash this patch," or "This hero's trash this patch." Okay, yeah, maybe they're a 45% win rate, or maybe they're a 40% win rate. But hey, if you're in the 2K range, if you're in the 3K range, if you're in the 4K range or the 5K range, and you're really good at that hero, doesn't really matter. I'm going to go ahead and say that. Those stats are for everybody that's playing it, and those stats also apply to the people who probably aren't super good at that hero and do get trashed.
But here's why I say that there's a lack of empirical evidence to define what you're talking about, is because, for instance, look at a hero like Io. The consensus amongst better players is that Io is very strong right now. Io has one of the worst win rates statistically of any of the heroes.
And Io needs somebody.
And there are reasons for that. We can, and you know, so this is why I say experience is also important, and it's good to take it. It's good to, because the best advice you can give any player is experience the game, right? Play the game, learn as best you can about the game, and yes, you will get advice from people, and some of it may be good, and some of it may be bad.
It's not even that. So there's a difference between, hey, when I play this hero, I build these items and it works for me. And then there's a difference between you being in a pub, which this happened to me a lot in my earlier days, where I'm playing a hero and I build an item and it's like, no, that's absolutely wrong. You never build that item on that hero. And I will say that advice is absolutely wrong. Any item on any hero is viable in some situation.
At the same time, what you're talking about is one of the things that I hate most about about trying to give advice to newer players.
Yeah, don't tell them what to.
No.
Well, you need to tell them what to build.
Exactly, and this is why I caution.
But then you get caught in this like mental box where even as you grow as a player, you think you have the positive association with a better player told me to play this way. And that means that I can never leave it. For instance, I don't know. I feel like one of my like coming to Jesus moments was I was getting wrecked by, and you happened to be here for this game. I was getting wrecked by a Necrophosis. This is back when Necro was doing buyback or making it so you couldn't buy back. There were also a lot of single targets, and I said, "Fuck it! Like I need a Lincoln Sphere." And I bought a Lincoln Sphere on Sven, and guess what? It won me that fucking game.
Yeah, I remember that.
My first games of Sven would not have been by Lincolns.
But you knew that was the right play to make in that game. I mean, the same way we've watched a lot of pro games where we see heroes pick up items where you're like, oh yeah, holy shit, I would never build that item on that hero.
I guess the best advice would be get a good breadth of so basically we've argued for years now on focus on one hero and get really good at that hero. But if you focus on that one hero, he has a specific set of items, that one hero.
Right.
Where you're not going to get much experience. Andrew's never built a goddamn bloodstone. Okay,
yeah, I know.
Like these are that's what I'm talking about.
No, I know. Okay,
playing more heroes gives you more experience to more items.
I also want to defend the
like Wraith King, Orchid. I build Orchid on Wraith King pretty often. I mean, if I get an anti-mage picked into me, sometimes I gotta build. Anti-mage may not be the best. Slark or Quap or Storm Spirit or
heroes, escape heroes.
Yeah, like. I'm going to build an Orchid, and it's like, what the fuck? Why does our Wraith King have an Orchid? Well, it gives me some mana regen. Maybe I'll survive more often, but
more often than not, though, and again, this is because you're playing solo queue and everything's very different. This is the one thing I hate about Dota is that everything has to change so goddamn. It's what makes Dota great and makes Dota intolerable all at the same time. Is everything changes so fucking often, and it depends on your circumstances. Because yes, in an ideal setting, the Wraith King on a pro team wouldn't be the one building the Orchid because we would have somebody who we had picked who was designated to pick the Orchid because we knew we were going to do it, right?
Yeah, and it's like the Necro gets the Orchid, the Sven gets the Daedalus.
We would have known those types of things, sure. But I guess the argument I want to make here still is I wouldn't trade how I went about learning the game for a just play every hero until I figured it out. Because at the same time, while I recognize, and as I've expanded my hero pool larger and larger as I go on, and there are still heroes I have never played.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, there are heroes that, I know how they function. I've read their abilities. I understand what their abilities do. I've played against most of them often enough that I understand it. I get it. I know how to counter. I knew how to counter a Slark and what a Slark did before I ever fucking played a Slark. You know what I mean?
But I mean, is Orchid always going to work on Slark?
No, not always.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And these are things that you can read his ability and you can be like, no, if I Orchid him, he can't queue. But if he's already started his queue and I Orchid him, then the Orchid's been purged. And it's like, yes, I'm going to go back to my same argument that I've been saying forever, is that you can understand a hero by playing against him, but you don't truly understand the hero until you play him. And it can be argued. That point can be argued, but that's my opinion.
Point being, I agree with you to an extent. I guess my bigger point being, if you...
I
would still caution new players to not do what you did. Because
it took a long time to climb.
It took a long time to climb to do what you did, but at the same time, you play a lot more Dota than I think than maybe more casual players are going to be able to, right? So I mean, if you're playing,
I do it for a goddamn podcast.
Right.
It's kind of like a requirement. You know what I mean?
For sure. But I mean, but you also have different circumstances, and you are able to get more games than I think even the average player in that situation might be. You know, I mean, you can get more. You want to compare our game totals? You'd
have to accumulate 3 accounts.
Yeah, I would have to do 3 times.
I have 250. I have 250 on this new account, and then I have got probably 2,000 on my first account, and then probably around 250 on the other account. So I've probably got 2,500 games.
Yeah, and I'll bet maybe 12 or 1,300 games.
Probably have double the amount of games you do.
Yeah,
but I don't feel like I'm better than you. I really don't.
But you do have more experience playing the game. So I guess my point being,
which I would like to go into that discussion, the difference between 3,700 and 2,100, and how you could be just as successful as I am if you were here. I'll get into that in a second.
I don't know about that.
I absolutely know it. I know it for fact.
Here's my point. If you were a new player, I would still advise you to pick up a couple of heroes. I still think it's a worthwhile thing.
Start with Lich. Start with Maiden.
Yeah,
Maiden's difficult. I wouldn't say start with Maiden. I'd say Lich.
But here you are throwing out advice.
Well, this is just the reason with Maiden is positioning, right? Sure. And super squish and super slow.
But I guess all this is why I caution you. Don't be too jaded by the fact that you along the way got bad advice.
It's not that advice that I'm getting. It's the advice. I mean, I can't think of it because it's happened so many times. But what happened was I got trapped in like a small box. Is how I felt. I got trapped in this like mental box where this hero cannot do that because. And the because was never justified by statistics or good and sound reasoning. The because was justified by somebody whose MMR was higher than mine, and that is lethal to somebody's growth.
Sure.
Their number of their ability to win is better than yours. Right? Because that's what the MMR is your ability to win.
100%.
And that does not directly translate to their understanding. That does not directly translate to the heroes you play.
I do agree that MMR should be taken with a grain of salt in that regard.
Yes.
Because, yes, I think you're correct. I think
But when you start to get in 7K, 8K, 9K, these are people who have played every single hero, who understand every single interaction, and probably should be listened to.
No, I agree, but I mean, at the same time, you can take a bit of advice from 4 and 5K players, and and we do a lot of that here on the show, mind you. Like, and I don't mean you and me, but I mean our
with Proud and everything. But the thing is what Proud says on when I ask him questions related to the safe lane. I mean, I feel like, and if it hasn't been brought this way, I feel like everything should be couched that it's still situational. And we've made it, and I feel like with our first episode, it's still situational.
About Dota, I hate that every time. You know what I wish I never had to say again?
Situational. Yeah, me
I
too.
wish I could have a fucking discussion about Dota.
But you're talking about a game that is highly situational.
Right, sure, but at the end of the day,
make a card game, and then it won't be situational.
But everybody needs to understand that, yes, all right, please let it be unstated further on this show that everything is fucking situational. But if I want to have a discussion with you about the best items to build on a particular
we need to be resolute. We need to come up with standards of this is the situation we're in. And there's no argument, and it's the only way conversation works.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's the only way that you get better about it, because then yes, you will through experience find things that don't work. Like, and I agree with you. Don't put yourself in a box, and be willing to be creative and be willing to try shit.
Don't be too creative. Don't be Jungle Roland. I'll tell you that much. Don't.
Well, even regardless, yes, you went into Jungle Roland mode.
And I will say Venomancer Jungle. I said months before that it's the best jungler.
For every Venomancer jungler you had 3 others that weren't right? Yeah. That didn't work. But I'm saying, if the two things that, as you're listening to,
I'm still waiting for support invoker. That's what I'm still waiting for.
The two things, if you're going to be giving and getting advice in Dota, the two things that you should just always be given are A, that Dota is always situational, and B, that it depends on experience.
But here's the issue. People are put on pedestals. People are put on pedestals by their MMR. They are. I did it. Yeah. I did it. And I'll
still argue that rightfully so in a lot of cases.
Yeah, in a lot of cases. But people, even within the community that, like, I don't know, there were certain 3K players that I put on a pedestal. And these were 3K players that never played ranked. So who knows if they were even 3K players. And I'm here I am a 1500 MMR player, and I want to play Storm Spirit mid. And I'm doing the bottle start. Instead of just saying bottle start's garbage, I would love the why. Because that's what you need, is you need the why. Because in my mind, it's not garbage. Storm Spirit needs mana, because Storm Spirit throws out these remnants that allow me to get last hits. Instead of, hey, look, Null Talisman Tango is going to allow you to get more last hits because you're doing more damage, thus getting the bottle and the null.
I mean, how many times have we brought up the old poker reference with Annie Duke? If every action she always says in a poker game, if you're going to raise, if you're going to call,
you should have a sentence.
You should have a sentence in your head about why you were
doing it.
But
my sentence was wrong. My sentence in my mind was, I need mana, I need health, I want a bottle right away.
And that's where I think the experience element comes into play. And that's why I think, if you want to be creative and do creative shit, like even what you were doing, do you regret...
But instead of being told I'm wrong, I'd much rather be told it's wrong because...
Do you regret playing all those games in the jungle?
No, because it was a blast. It's a video game.
Okay, so... If you want to get stupid creative and you want to do something and you want to try it out,
I don't even know if it was creative. It was just that I wasn't climbing in MMR. I was just like,
I'd still like to see you go through and do A to Z in the jungle.
I mean, talking about.
I mean, in a video.
I mean,
like a YouTube video
where
series.
I do like 2 minutes or something like that on each one.
I'd love to see. I'd love to see 100.
Well, I'll tell you,
games.
there's never been an easier patch to do A to Z in the jungle because of shrines.
Maybe why you should do it now, right?
Well, so like I've told everybody, I'm 3,700. I am confident I will hit 4,000 MMR within a month. And we'll see. When I do hit 4,000 MMR, I'm going to go back to my main account, and I'm going to climb from, I think I'm 2,050 on my, and this is like the first account I ever had.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if being 4K means that I can climb rapidly from 2K.
Yeah.
Shouldn't it? And sure. This is when I'm really going to Morgan Spurlock, and it's going to be does the trench exist? And I have a lot of arguments for it, especially I've been watching Andrew play a lot, and Andrew's a damn good player. Andrew has a couple of things that, I mean, everybody has a couple of things that they're doing wrong. Yeah. I mean, even pro players have a couple of things. I mean, we've got Eternal Envy, who's known to be either God or feed, you know what I mean? Sure. Like, and he's at the top echelon of play. But
well, and how many? I mean, I've seen pros miss last hits.
Yeah, they do, but they don't fret over it. And when I miss the last hit, I'm like, oh fuck, and then I miss 4 more. But with Andrew, his mechanical skill is excellent, and you can see it when he's playing. His decision making is excellent, and you can see it when he's playing. But Andrew gets this like, I can push the limits. Like I'm a Lycan, and my Lycan only has so much health and only so much mana, but I'm gonna push it a little further than Lycan's even capable of. And we've seen it work, but that's positive association. I've seen Deuce 7 work in a poker game. Is it gonna work every time? Statistically speaking, absolutely, it shouldn't have worked the first time. But you know, it's positive association.
Sure.
So, but Andrew's climbing like a madman, and he's playing super good Dota. He's playing, and he's figured out what heroes he's good at, and he's focusing on those heroes. And he, goddamn it, good for him. He's playing well. He has, I mean, I think it bothers him that I'm at 3,700, but I will say that it had a lot to do with just. Like, I mean, I'm going to go back to Ursi's mode. Like, play when you feel like you're going to play well. Don't play when you don't feel like you're going to play well. I feel like there's a lot to be said there. If I were to say advice from a higher player, that would be one of the best pieces of advice I've ever received. And it's tough. It's because it's like somebody telling you when you're at a poker table, when you're way up, to walk away. And you're like, no, I could be further up.
Right.
And it's like, no, dude, you should just, you've won a lot. Like, you should just walk away, take a breather, go get some bite to eat, come back, and if you still feel good, play some more. That's awesome. I mean, although I don't follow it perfectly, because I mean, I'm playing like 7 games in a row and risking all my MMR because you lose one. It's basically like all your 2 wins are nullified. You know what I mean? So. Anyway, I don't know. There's just certain pieces of advice from people, mostly in the 3K range, that the only reason, and egos too. I hate the ego. The people that think they know it all. That's one thing that I just absolutely cannot stand.
You're gonna get that.
I get that at every.
You get that in every video game you ever fucking play.
You get that at every skill bracket you play too. Yeah. But the people that are just like, this is good, like the regurgitators is what I like to call. The people who sat and watched Boston Rager and regurgitate.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And it's like,
I at least give credit, like every time like I've mentioned a couple of times.
Oh, you don't need to give credit.
Well, no,
you just need to understand why it's good.
I just mean like I let them know to just tweet at Proud Dota whenever they're upset about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Just, at least give credit where credit is due, right?
Yeah. I mean, and with Proudland, my goal was always to be earnest and to, ask the questions of like, I am definitely worse than you, and I am definitely worse than Proud.
Oh, I abused the shit out of that show on Friday.
Did you?
You might as well have just called that Cyphus' coaching session.
Hey, good. I haven't listened to it, to be honest with you. It's been crazy.
I just went through it.
When you have a baby and 4 families, basically, because of like divorced parents and and then in-laws and
Did you get anything good for Christmas?
Audrey and I, so this is the best thing that happened for Christmas was no more do we have to worry about getting presents for each other.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's awesome. So we do a present for each other. So this year we got ourselves a sectional and a TV, because the baby's gonna need a TV eventually, And so we have a
It's like all good American parents, you're going to let the TV raise your child.
Well, it doesn't. We don't have cable. Yeah. It's one of those smart TVs that has a tablet that controls it. And so it's been nice for us. Like when it's 2 a.m., I can go downstairs.
So my Netflix will raise the child.
No, we actually finally signed up for our own and did everything. Yeah, and Audrey loves Hulu, which I don't understand that we pay for something that still has ads in it, and I hate Hulu, but okay.
There's an ad-free version.
Is there?
Yeah, it's a little more expensive, but
God, who cares? We pay for it. Yeah, so we do a present for each other, and then so we this year, because of the baby, we're like, it's too stressful for us to go out and get presents for each other.
Yeah,
let's just get a present that's for both of us. I was like, holy fuck, you're intelligent. Like I love you. Like I don't have to go to like some makeup store and be like, I need the crimson pink guard.
Yeah, there is nothing worse than trying to buy things that women are very particular about.
Super particular.
Have no clue about whatsoever.
Yeah, and so I got a bunch of clothes, and I was like elated. Whereas like I got like 8 different zip-up hoodies from like 4 different people. Yeah. And apparently like the word got out that like, yeah, it's really hard to shop for. Just get him zip-up hoodies. And so like now I have like, I look in my closet and I'm like, wow, which zip-up hoodie will it be today? Will it be the beige? No, it's not a beige day. Maybe it'll be a dark red.
I always use Christmas as an excuse to buy myself presents, you know?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I
and we got like a ton of Amazon money.
Oh, yeah. That's the best present ever.
Yeah. So I think I might buy a new keyboard or something. I don't know.
I got Ren a Razer keyboard for Christmas, one of those. So
like one of the chromas?
Yeah, so she can color code it with everything. It's got a nice little armrest.
I'll tell you, it'll be the best thing that she's done in Dota is color her keyboard.
Oh.
Well, that's mean.
So today I installed the motherboard that I bought myself because I had that motherboard going out.
That's a big job to install a motherboard because you have to take everything out and you have to unscrew everything.
I felt like fucking Dr. Frankenstein. Like,
did you get it all loaded up and working?
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful. I'm ready to get going. Put some more extra RAM in there, and
you have 32 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. That and now I just need the video. I need one more video card upgrade.
You may as well go the 1060. Don't go 970.
No, for me, I don't give a shit if it's a 970 or a 1060.
1060 is like, isn't it twice as good as 970 in the same price?
No, they're pretty comparable actually. The 1060
are they?
and the 970. Yeah, they're not that bad. In fact, the 970 is like on eBay and through private sellers now are starting to go for like 150 or 200 bucks. Mm-hmm. So like, now's the time to do it. And you figure that's a VR ready, VR capable card. Like that's all I want it for, right?
Yeah.
Because I want to.
When you build your cockpit for Elite Dangerous.
Yeah, I'm going to build the cockpit. So.
I am so tired. I'm not going to give you, I'm just tired of giving you shit about Elite Dangerous. Do what you're going to do. Fly around in the space.
It's going to be great.
The comment, though, when we were losing our game, you're like, I could have been hauling cargo from Sector Z to Sector A, B.
All right? Yeah.
And I was like, I already had an upset stomach, and the baby had already spit up a little bit on me, and I was like, would it hurt if I spit up on my right shoulder while he spit up on my left? You know, I'll just call it baby spit up.
So you know what I've been doing.
No, it's fine.
I just game of Dota and then going to fly the ship for a little bit, and then coming back and I play another game of Dota.
Honestly, probably a good way. Have you ever considered? Because honestly, I do think that you were a 3K plus player.
I thought about doing so. I started a recalibration account, and I went 4 games into it. I basically just played AM all 4 of those games and just farmed like a madman and just wrecked noobs, and it was a lot of fun. But then I took that hiatus for like almost 2 weeks of no Dota, and then when I came back, I felt so rusty on my main account. Like you were right, dude. Like it was Rust City. It was probably 10 games before I started feeling like, okay, I'm back. Like, I'm back in Dota. It was 10 games before I started feeling confident. And realistically, it was probably like 15 games before I really had it.
Yeah.
And then I didn't go back to the recalibration count. 1, because I was feeling rusty. And then 2, because, 7-0 dropped. And I wanted to make sure that I wanted to make sure that I had an understanding of what I wanted to go in doing, what heroes I felt comfortable playing.
I'd be really curious. I think that you would calibrate at 3K and you would climb. Because you're a good support, and honestly, supports flourish. Anything like what I've noticed.
I haven't been playing much support. It's been a long time since I've played a good support.
Do you think you could do it again?
Yeah. I played Abaddon kind of like a support game or two ago.
I mean, Lion's an awesome hero.
Yeah, I could do Lion. What's Lion's level 25? Or his 20, I guess, is where the supports are.
I think, so his level 15 is gold. His level 10 is damage, or it's gold or damage, I think, for level 15. Level 10 is like, I want to say movement speed, or honestly, it's so hard to remember those. It's going to take me a while. I just played him.
Level 10 is, 45 damage or 175
health. Oh, okay.
15 is 90 gold a minute or 30-second respawn time. That's actually a really tough call.
The gold's super nice to get Nags or Blink Dagger.
Being around all the time as Lion.
Yeah. But if everybody's
20 is 8%
dead.
Spell amplification or 20% magic resistance.
Mind you, an Aether Lens is 5% spell amplification and is the only thing that will amplify spells other than int. So 8% spell amplification is 8 times 19 int.
Plus 3, level 25, plus 3 mana drain multi-target.
Yeah, so you can mana drain from a whole team. Like if there's a team fight coming in, you can just and you can basically
get 4 targets. Is that what the plus 3 means?
Yeah.
It's not a plus 3 mana per second drain?
No. What would plus 3 mana per second do? No. It's 4 targets. So basically you can be drained. So basically like a Sven at that point, if you have level 4 mana drain and you can hit like the Sven, you can hit a support, you can do that. Ags cost so much mana, or not Ags, ult on Lion costs so much mana that you're basically up to full mana instantly. And even if you're at full mana, you're still draining mana, as you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I might try. His win rate's relatively low though. That's sad.
Lion?
Yeah, 48%.
I think it has to do. I don't know. So I was watching a video about like how. No, I wasn't. I was listening to Proud and how skirmishy this is.
48.2% right now.
I think movement is king right now. Honestly,
yeah,
I'll say just because like Proud said, and this is something I completely agree with, that fights are just breaking out over runes like all over the place, which is why movement is king, and why we have this stupid hero Monkey King, who I don't think is overpowered. I just think he's dumb.
Dude, you're right about movement. On every hero I play, after I get boots on support, the 2 times I played support, or the 1 time I played support, I snagged a Windlace like almost.
Windlace is like core.
But yeah, I snagged when I finish my boots, I snag a Windlace. That's on every core I play. Off lane, safe lane.
Oh, whatever. Lich getting that plus 15 movement speed. I think it's 435 is your movement speed after Tranquil, Windlace, and then his level 10 plus 15 movement speed. So Lich is just running around like a race car.
Yeah.
And if you can just get there to put out fires, basically you compensate for the slow heroes, because there still are slow heroes. So like Proud brought up the fact that Storm Spirit's really good this patch, and I played a game of him last night and I realized, he absolutely is, because if I'm sitting mid and I'm doing my Storm Spirit thing and I see that a fight breaks out at my safe lane bounty rune, I'm there, and now we have numbers advantage, and we win the fight. Alternatively for my offlane rune, alternatively for their offlane rune.
Well, and just the ability to TP to those shrines has changed that too. Like there's so many situations where there's a fight that used to be occurring, let's say, in the you're playing Radiant, and there's a fight that's occurring like near the Dire Shrine. It used to be that I had to either TP to the mid or TP to the, and then walk my ass over there.
They're
now
really incentivizing rotation, which I love. And that's one thing that's the big delineation, in my opinion, between like a higher skill game is people's willingness to move.
Yeah.
And it literally makes a game better.
I'll say I feel like I do feel like you're playing a step above even everything you used to be. Like, I mean, and I'll just even point to that last game where we played, even though we lost.
We got wrecked, dude. And you had more net worth. Rin had more net worth than me, if you saw that. Yeah. Because I had to AFK because of baby, remember?
Right. It didn't matter though. We were losing that game at the time. But regardless, like your rotations were on fucking point.
Well, I saw that he Wukonged you, dude, and I was like, then I TP'd in. I was like, my buddy's getting Wukonged.
And then we just turned around and doomed his ass, and then
Frost Arrows. They're forcing me to get those now because I can't get stats.
I forgot about that. Oh my god! Now you can't play Drow wrong.
No,
That's great.
no, yeah. That was also a really fun strat. There's a video online of Miracle doing exactly what I did and just wrecking, doing the E stats, stats ult. No, I'm serious. It exists, but it is garbage. Like it's
9 times out of 10, it's not worth it.
So the silence on Drow is
a great silence.
Well, for one, it is one of the hardest counters to Storm Spirit that I know of. If I'm Storm Spirit and I'm like, hoo ha ha, hoo, hoo, zip onto Drow, and she's like, and gusts me back with her cold air or whatever, I'm now like, I'm knocked back, which means I'm susceptible to a stun. I can't zip away for however long.
Yeah.
It's harsh, dude. So I like
frost arrows are great. I've been telling you
frost
forever,
arrows are great.
Frost arrows are amazing. Yeah, I know they're 12 mana and yada 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 yada.
It wasn't mana. It was just that they don't do damage. That was
I know.
It's cold. It should do more damage.
But there are so many. No, and I agree with you. By D&D standards, that would be
it'd be cold damage.
Damage.
I'm just slight increase, like +5, +10, +15, +20.
I take a +2.
+2, +4, +6, +8.
+2. I'll take a flat +2.
Oh, really?
That would at least make them make a little more sense.
And I don't know. And you saw that, like, me shooting him out at that bristle and just like, get him, get him.
It was amazing. It's an amazing skill. Like, it was always my.
No, yeah. Drow has an awesome toolkit. All the heroes have an awesome toolkit, but I don't know. Basically, to summarize everything, just because somebody's a higher MMR than you doesn't mean that should discourage you from doing something you want to do.
I also hope people don't ever feel discouraged from talking about the game, and like I guess that's more what as you've talked about all of this, even just on this episode. I wonder if there are people out there that listen to the show.
And Tulicard, it's a talk show, dude. I wasn't reaming you, dude. I did much worse jungling things. Tulicard's like, Roland reamed me, and I was like, dude, like, no, this
he was using you as a scapegoat for his jungling.
Yeah,
right?
like, you were the perfect scapegoat. No, dude, I think your Jungle Monkey King is fine. And if you're coming out with a Radiance, that's awesome.
Are we going to do call-ins again
I would love to.
Okay.
I would love to. I thought that was fun.
Also,
but this time, Proud's coming on.
Oh, okay, cool.
We're switching Proud and Ursi.
Okay. You've talked to them about
that?
Yeah.
We talked to Proud.
Us doing the show business.
I haven't talked to Ursi. He's off the show for this week. Proud's coming on.
Sorry.
We got a new expert, and he's the highest MMR.
Okay, great. Well, as for those that want to do that, we're going to shoot for tomorrow at 7 Eastern again. Do you want to do that?
This exact same time. And come on with questions. I'm, of course, just going to be the agitator. I'm just going to be on there kind of fielding the questions for Proud. Because I just don't have any... I don't want to answer questions. I just honestly...
I think you should answer questions if people ask you.
If they ask me, sure, but I just...
Because I heard you redirect a couple of questions, because, I think somebody asked you about your hotkeys, and I know you redirected to Ursi because Ursi taught you those hotkeys, or it taught you a lot about
not
hotkeys.
Really. Just Ursi made a video. I only use four fingers.
Yeah.
And
but you should answer those questions if people ask you.
Well, I mean, I have the expert. Yeah, I know. Yeah. The camera control, 3,250.
Yeah, camera control, that's what it was about.
3,250 edge pan. That's what I have. But he was asking, like, alternatives to edge pan, and then there's camera grip, and I'm like, dude, what do you think I am, Yapzor? Like, I don't edge pan. Like, Are you kidding me? Like, sometimes I will.
No, I didn't get that. It was a good redirect Ursi for it. So if you guys want to do that, tune in to the .p Discord. That's discord.gg/.p, DOTP. I wonder sometimes if we have new listeners that hear us say .p and then
think like DOP, like DOPP,
or think like a period P,
Oh yeah,
.p.
I saw that for a little while. I remember that was the people were like, "Hey, period P." And I was like, that's pretty cool. I saw that a couple times.
I don't even remember why we started calling it dot, or who began calling it .p.
I can't remember. I saw it a couple of times where it was period P, and I was like, that is clever.
But boy, has it stuck.
Yeah.
Because initially it was DOTP_shows, how I think I was giving out the Twitter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I think you were like, and you can find us at DOTP_show. Yeah, I think for a while you were saying that, .p_show.
But anyway, so, that's our Twitter, of course. Are we ending the show, maybe?
I don't know. Okay, so I just want to couch everything with...
Right.
So playing on a team with 3Ks, Andrew being one of the most, I'll be honest, one of the most detrimental players to my growth ever. Because Andrew yelled a lot and felt like
he was clustered in his own role and his own.
He felt like things needed to be a certain way, and I played that certain way long after I stopped playing with Andrew.
Yeah.
And that held me down. So if you are out there and you're playing with a buddy who's better than you, and he tells you this is the way it is, when you go into solo, don't. Like, think for yourself. I watched a video recently on YouTube on top 5 reasons why you won't be a pro player. And the fifth reason was you're not willing to research. You play an enormous amount of games, but you're not willing to go onto YouTube and research. Yeah. And he said, and YouTube has 3 types of content. It has silly plays, it has pro plays, and then it has educational content. Guess what pulls in the most? The pro plays and the silly plays.
I'm sure the silly plays by far and away the most.
Yeah, I mean, you got Dota Cinema, for instance, where you have like Slacks awkwardly like, what's he gonna do? Hit an arrow? Oh, he hit the arrow. And then, but the best thing you can do is watch Purge videos. And then he also brought up the fact that people watch the Purge videos but may not ingest it. They may watch it and be like, yeah, that's right. And he's like, is that sticking after 2 games? Yeah. Is that sticking after 10 games? Is that sticking after 100 games?
I would say I think the other good thing to do is what we've done, and that's talk about it with people.
Talk about it with people. Also, if you have ladder anxiety, which I am definitely getting as I'm climbing further to 4K, because every loss means a lot of hard work. So it's like a win means a shit ton to me, basically, right now. So get an idea of what hero you want to play, or what hero you're probably going to pick. Hopefully it's like a neutral-ish hero. Especially if you're going to play core, go into a bot match. Don't even go into a bot match. Create a lobby with no bots, and just last hit with no items, like you said. Yeah. No items, don't level up, no items, just last hit.
And I am not the one to take credit for that. That was a Purge suggestion.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It improved my last hitting. It improved my last hitting in just a couple of sessions.
Even if you're like 4K, 5K.
I literally went in, and this was in 688, and obviously things have changed somewhat.
Mm-hmm. Mechanics haven't.
I didn't buy a Quell. I never bought a Quell.
Even on like those melee heroes that needed, like Spectre and stuff like that. Yeah.
I never got a Quell. I never leveled up.
Although you're naturally getting more damage from leveling up, you never actually took a skill to level up.
But regardless, I never leveled up, and I ran for 10 minutes, and I would stop, and I would see what my CS was, and then I would go out, exit, come back again, and start it up again,
see if
I could beat it.
Yeah.
And I just kept doing
that.
And
it doesn't take, that's 20 minutes. Yeah. That takes 20 minutes, and you can put some cheats in there to start game.
Why not do it for
do it for a whole game? Game's length.
I would do it for an hour if
I wish I had that advice.
To work on your efficiency.
When I was playing mid, for instance, if I had that advice where it's like, hey, if you want to really prepare for those 82L matches, go Storm Spirit mid. And because Purge brings up this good point where he says, if you're having trouble getting last hits when you're contested with another person. So if I'm mid and I'm up against Shadow Fiend v Storm Spirit or something like that, and I'm having trouble getting last hits, well, that sucks. And the only way to practice that is by playing that matchup or playing against mid. But he said if Shadow Fiend leaves to get a rune, that is the time that you should never miss a last hit. Right. And if you're missing last hits when nobody is contesting your last hits, that's very bad.
Right.
And a quick remedy to warm yourself up, to make yourself a better player.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If you feel like you need to work on that, or you're not familiar with a particular hero, because what I started doing was, so the first time I did it, I think I did it with Spectre, and like I said, I got no levels or anything. I went in and I probably did it for an hour, where I just kept going back until I could and beat my score every time, and really focused on doing that. And then what I started doing when I was being really serious and probably was playing at my best, and I definitely have not been doing that lately, but is I would go in and I would warm up in one of those, and I would just do a 10-minute run with a hero that I was about to play, and if I hadn't played the hero before, I'd go and do 2 runs with them. And if you can get to a point where you're in a mode,
and 50 at 10 is fine. I know 60 is the new 50, but 50 at 10 is fine. Don't harp on yourself. Like, it depends on, once again,
I think most people would be surprised how many last hits they could get in that practice mode doing that.
Yeah.
And
70 is not out of reason.
No,
yeah,
it's not.
By 10 minutes, but
yeah, that I think helped me more than maybe anything I've ever done in Dota.
Yeah.
Frankly.
And so, like, those types of things, I feel like are almost empirical to help you better.
They make you better at last hitting as a support too, because you start doing that, and when you're doing it without any items and with only that incremental, that slight damage increase that you're getting as you level up, you're going to be that much better at last hitting when you do have the items.
Yep.
You know what I
and
mean?
when you're up against people and you're going to feel confident and you're going to know your animation.
And when you'll take advantage of the times, you'll really excel in the times where nobody's contesting.
And even as a support, do it for polling. Especially, it's of the utmost importance to stack your small camp at the 50-second mark.
It would be interesting to go in and just do...
I do that.
And just do 10 or 15 minutes of, just...
stacking and knowing your way around and ward spots and being like, okay, what vision is this getting me? And sometimes I will put a ward down and pause and think, okay... And I add and this helps tremendously. This is something that I just did. I add an enemy, and when you're in a lobby match with cheats, you can add a console, you can add an enemy, and you can control him. So I can play as though I'm playing from the Dire, because you have this weird thing that, like, if you're playing from the Radiant, it feels so much different than when you're playing from the Dire. So if you're playing from both, it feels good. So what I did is I set up a Lion in a bot match, or in a lobby match, and put wards down, and then spawned an AM on the enemy side, and just acted like I was farming on that AM, and saw the wards that I put down as the Radiant Lion, and said, are these good? Like, are these wards going to be... If I were playing anti-mage, are my wards as the opposite Lion going to get the maximum information from this anti-mage?
Yeah.
And it was actually super helpful because it made me like, it was like playing yourself at chess or something like that. It was thinking like, okay, when I play anti-mage, I'm always going to be blinking here, or I'm always going to be running here, or doing this or doing that. So even for ward spots, it's good to do that. Like any position, you can warm up.
But here we are, giving advice.
I feel like we're saying go into a bot match and warm up. I'm not saying that like, oh wow, you got 3 points in Earthshaker's E? Really?
No,
that's retarded.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, that's the advice I hate the worst is skill builds and item builds, because it's just so heavily situational.
So necessary though. They are so necessary because it is. I would be at a loss.
It's freeing when you can think for yourself.
For sure, but you know what's also freeing is finding builds that do work and then being able to modify those.
Yeah,
and
for sure,
and learning that way and expanding that way.
I absolutely agree.
Nothing changed. Nothing better. My MMR is that much more the better for ripping off Proud's PA build.
Is it? I mean, it's kind of the same as it is. Same
as
it ever was. Same as it ever was. That's why you should recalibrate. I really think you should recalibrate. You're trenched, buddy.
No, I mean maybe. I don't know.
And you're playing with your girlfriend way too much.
We'll play. We'll delve into the trench topic some other time. All right, if you guys want to find us, we're at .p_show on Twitter. DefenseOfThePatients.com is the website. Find our Discord at discord.gg/.p. If you can't make it tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern and you still have a question, send us an email at defenseofthepatients@gmail.com. We still have a couple of questions banked from pre-7.0 Dota. I don't know if... I'm going to try to go through those.
We may never get to them. I mean, if it's mechanical, probably. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, we might be able to.
And we're going to have somebody on tomorrow that is the most mechanical player I know, which would be Proud. So, definitely the most mechanical player on .p, for sure. I mean, he plays LD, plays Arc Warden like a madman. His mechanics are... And he played StarCraft at a master's level. Like, that dude has great mechanics. So,
but yeah, so if you've got questions and you want to talk to us on the show, hit us up in the Discord. If you can't talk to us in the Discord, and we understand, send us an email. It may not work for your time zone, for instance.
And Tulagard, I love you, man. Like, you were the first call that I ever had, and I'm sorry if I was harsh with you, but I had to field through a bunch of people. I'm sorry, and there's nothing wrong with your Jungle King Radiance. Yeah. I hope you can climb and put me to shame.
I guess a little bit of. So I'm going to be sitting in a room down at the very bottom of the Discord called the Waiting Room, and if you want to be on the show, hop into the Discord, do an @Cyphus to let me know, and I will drag you.
We'll just send out messages and stuff like that.
And I'll drag you over from the.
Although
AFK.
I don't wake up until like 3 p.m.
Yeah.
lately, 3 or 4 p.m. So
well, you shoot me an @Cyphus and let me know that you want to be on the show, or that you've got a question you want to ask. I'll drop you over into the waiting room a little beforehand. We'll do some screening for all the questions, and then we'll.
I love how you like laugh at that. That like he doesn't wake up till 3. I have baby night shift, off, dude. So, I have baby night shift. So
yeah, poor bastard.
Does that mean I have to play with you and Rin tonight?
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I was gonna kick up a stream for Road to 3800.
Well, maybe I will. I got a webcam too for Christmas. So.
Did you plug it in?
Well, that's why I installed the new motherboard.
Plug it in. Plug it in.
C920, whatever's the 1080.
Dude, everybody uses the Logitech C920s.
Yeah, they're nice.
They're cheap and they're nice.
Yeah, I'll plug it in. Hell, I'll throw some video up.
Not cheap, like cheap. They're they're affordable. Yeah, they're $69.99.
Yeah, for $60. I think she even got it for less.
Yeah,
because of Black Friday or whatever.
Cyber Monday, bro. That's the new Black Friday.
I'm so tired of Christmas and holidays.
Oh, me too. And like when Audrey's parents left, because they came over for Christmas, because Audrey won't let the baby leave the house because there's all sorts of dangerous things in the world that could get that baby. And they came over, and the second they left, I was like, high five, and she's like, why?
So I know this from taking the child development courses that I...
Rotavirus?
No. I was just going to say so the first, I think it's like the first 18 months of an infant's life are amongst the most dangerous. It's from about 18 months, or maybe it was 2 years, but from about 2 years to 15 is when you're, like, statistically
95%
speaking,
chance of
it's
living.
It's like a 98% chance that you'll survive.
Yeah.
It's absurd. And with
infant, they have like SIDS, which is sudden infant death syndrome. There's a lot of things to if you want
to talk about that.
If you want to occupy your mind with worrying about that, I mean, if he's suddenly going to die, then there's nothing I can do about it. I mean,
this is these are things you never want to utter in a recording.
Why? I'd cry. I'd be extremely sad.
I just mean,
I'm like a logical individual, like
I'm
that.
Superstitious individual, even with all the logic. All right.
Really?
I don't like to.
Are you really superstitious?
I like to be I like to be superstitious.
It's
fun.
That's dumb. Like, I don't take you as a superstitious individual.
No, I like to be superstitious,
especially with your viewpoints on things.
Like to get superstitious
you can't be superstitious and have viewpoints on the viewpoints that you have.
No, I know. But I still like
that's like believing in ghosts.
I choose superstitions, and I choose them wisely. Like, I choose my superstitions about camps that spawn. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what I do is when people are loading in, and I swear this works. This is my so I have a little superstition. I have a little superstition too. So it's like getting down to 10 seconds. We're still waiting on that loader, and it's loading, and I just write in all chat faith. And I swear to God, it's worked like twice.
Yeah.
And it's been like, and I was like, whoa, faith, man, because you can't see it, touch it, feel it, hear it, think it, anything. Oh my God. But it's there.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my thing.
I also have some superstitions about asteroids and the types of minerals that you can get out of them.
What else do I have? I have superstition about queuing up immediately after a win if I felt like my team, like if we barely scraped it by, I will wait 10 minutes.
I also have superstitions about Jack 9 in Hold'em.
Oh, really? Yeah, Jack 9 is a dangerous one. Yeah, you know what? I have superstitions about our jacks. I feel like I see him and I want to fold them, but it's like, I know I'm not supposed to. Like, it's a good hand. It's a great hand.
That I really wish would have just made into a rap song somewhere because... All right, I'm sorry. We're delving into a little bit of poker talk right before we close the show here, right before I go. The slang term for aces is bullets. The slang term for kings is cowboys, and the slang term for queens is bitches. And some guy like raised all in with kings, it's an old story, but some guy told the guy who went all in against him with kings with his aces. The guy with kings said, "Oh, I thought maybe you had queens," and he said, "Well, bullets treat cowboys just like bitches," which I thought was pretty fucking hilarious.
Wow. Wow.
So
that's pretty good. I've never heard that.
Yeah, bullets treat cowboys.
I haven't played poker in forever, man. That's gonna be something. Me and Charlie are gonna load up and go to Wendover.
Oh God.
Yeah, he can play on the slot machines. He can play on the slot machines because those are for children. And then I'll play poker.
Really good Charlie and the old ladies.
Yeah.
All right, we're doing it. Did I forget? Oh, youtube.com/.ptv1. You can find our YouTube videos there. And all the podcasts, if you prefer to listen to your podcast through the YouTube, we got a bunch of comments on there that I haven't gone back through and even checked.
Really?
Yeah, I'm so bad about responding to comments there and on Facebook.
Oh, I wanted to give a quick shout out to Fafnir and Chronozeal. Yesterday, on the 23rd, I did a Merry Christmas Steam gift card, gave away some stuff, submit replays, and I went through them. And Chronozeal played. He sent in this message. I'm going to read it. He said, he's like, "Is my submission? It was a sniper game. I went mid against Monkey King, whatever." And then he says, "But come to think of it, I don't know how interesting how interesting sniper killing people is." And like got all down on himself. Watched the game and his positioning. I put it on 0.25 and was like, "Watch this." And I just kept going back and like, "Look at this guy. Like, look at his positioning." And how many times we talked about sniper and his positioning.
Yeah, it's all about
and I was like, and it's like, no, this is not boring. This is actually fascinating to watch.
Yeah.
So Chronozeal and Fafnir got an ultra kill on CM. It was really cool because it was a nice setup by Skrunk and then a nice setup by Proud. He's playing with Proud and Skrunk, and Skrunk was playing Centaur and hit his ult, and then Fafnir like nestled himself in the trees and started ult, and Fafnir like he probably was. I want to say he was paying attention to the Pudge because there was a Pudge, and he like put himself in such a way that the Pudge couldn't hook him out of it, and it was a good ultra kill, and so they won.
Shit.
And so. Congratulations.
Shout outs to those guys. If you want to see stuff like that happens periodically, we still got to do the Steam gift card giveaway.
That's happening next year. It's not next year yet, my friend.
Okay, cool. Good. So I still have time to go get the gift cards. Twitch.tv/.ptv. That's DOTPTV.
Where you're going to see me right now because we're recording this on Christmas night.
That's right. So Merry Christmas.
I was going to say Christmas Day, but it's not.
We didn't really do a big Christmas thing this year, but I guess it's because it
fell on a weird day. Like if it fell on Saturday, we would have had time to premeditate and all that. But it was busy, baby, and 4 different obligations and staying up all night and being exhausted. I want to delve back into
more intros in the new year. Those are always fun.
All my intro ideas get shut down, so you can come up with your own, which would be lame. All right, let's close it. Wow, that was perfect. We lined up perfectly with our ending music.
Sweet. All right, until next time. This is Cyphus for Roland saying good luck and Godspeed.